Howdy, I'm Larry Hatch, author of the Josiah Miller series of new, exciting westerns. In this episode, I want to present a free audio sample from the recently released book, released in October 2019, called Josiah Miller, Mixed Company. I hope you enjoy it. If you'd like more, there's more free text and books and audio samples on our Patreon website. That's patreon.com/Josiah Miller. And there's also paid content, quite a bit of it. Lots of audio, hours of audio from the books. Entire content of more than 6 books now. And other benefits, like create your own character, or get a sample of the author's writing notes, or whatever you want. So, do indulge and please enjoy. Josiah Miller, Mixed Company, read by the author Larry Hatch. The town of Barstow's Landing was one I happened upon just after a spell of fur trapping by myself and 2 of our young prospects, Miller Fur Company, who seemed to have an inclination and set of skills for that life. Most young fellers didn't, but I could always spot the few. You had to be a badass to survive, brutal with other men and creatures if need be, diligent in checking traps, fast of gun and knife, and not too spoiled by modern living with things like outhouses, fresh flowing water, and 3 meals set apart out before ye. You had to be part billy goat and half Injun at times. Heck, even slyer than the best brave. Kind when called for, and an easy to partner with in a fair way. But just as quick to rub out another man or many men if they threatened you in the enterprise at hand. Me and the lads had a good spell with over 40 beaver of Miller quality, 1 lonely mink and brown and tan mix, 6 premium fox, 1 old bear, but of a sturdy form not found with young ones, and assorted other species for trim work. I taught the fellers all I knew about fur trading, hours worth it bored them, in fact. Never settle for a lot price. You'll get more for some that deserve it, but far less overall. I showed it too loud that day. Lot prices never. Sell piece by piece or in small lots, tiny lots only, keeping the premiums aside. Most trappers lose near 20% of the rightful take with big lot deals. It's a thing the trading posts do, and the merchants. They know, and I know, and now you know. They agreed, but I added, if I nod once and wink twice, that would be one rare time to take a lot price. Some fools can be had with high quality, but never inspect the whole bundle, the stuff you put down below. Now that would be just once in a while, and only if the senior man winks twice, and only a head man gets to sign the bill of sale. Don't be selling on your own without a senior man with you. Barstow's Landing was literally on the Colorado River, and you could cool off a drunken face by running out of the Eastern Saloon by the back door. It was just 10 paces down to the mighty but wide-flowing river. Sometimes they got flooded, but mostly not. The Chinese laundries found this convenient, as did some merchants, mixing their whiskey or stale beer with water. Fresh, pure water, if you will. The whores bathed in the same water, and no doubt the drink ran thick with enough tiny things to father the entire land of India. Sin in this town was not only readily available, and most cheap, but quite compulsory. The greeting party, usually the sheriff and 3 well-armed deputies, and if your drovers, ranch hands, the quote, local regulars, wagon train, or random visitor were not ready to pay the minimum $200 bond, you were turned back, driven out without comment or recourse. One bond would serve a party of at least 10, two if you had more, and so on. It seemed fair to me, for the $200 bond came in the form of locally printed notes, what they call coupons, that mimicked for all the world some old currencies in green ink, ornate scrolling words, the name of the town, and the portrait of the founder, Mr. Horace Christopher Long Barlow. In truth, he was quietly called Bastard Barlow, for he was sired by some unknown man out of many choices, and Sissy Barlow, a whore at Maurice's Gentleman's Club, who served, they say, a good 30 years in that generally short profession. The trading post at Maurice was soon renamed Barlow's Landing after the founder got poobs, a gun, and some entrepreneurial spirit. It was said he owned the brothel where his mother continued to work 4 years before his death, and she refused the better life. My men and I, not wishing to be unneighborly, went for 3 coupon sets, one each, though in retrospect I should not have necessarily shown my wealth. As a simple trapper who was quite otherwise, not many trappers could afford $600 before their furs were sold. We made a mistake, and in the hotel I schooled the lads on it. We always schooled them, and I admitted my mistakes. My men knew I always admitted my mistakes for their betterment and mine. Now, there were trappers of some wealth, and there were also very frugal ones who showed up with lots of money and gold, but we did not want to attract attention to our nearby work nor our training there. We might easily have brought the entire town that day, and 50 more like it. I must say that the Barlow coupons were very well designed and integrated with an assortment of pleasures. You automatically bought $30 worth of chips at Macy's Saloon and Poker Hall, even if such a thing was not in your blood. Those coupons had very fine print, and I, for one, did not really notice nor care. Heck, I was filthy rich. Many visitors, especially women and timid youth, no doubt left that money on the table untouched and unused. My 2 lads used their chip, and it was gone in 20 minutes. Mine was never trotted out. Mr. Swanson, your coupons have run out in terms of this particular enjoyment. A very subservient, full-whiskered fellow from the control desk said very quietly and honorably in my ear, so as to be private and respectful. I was wearing my full multi-species fur coat, a hat only a black bear with a band made entirely of real gold. My silver pistols not yet showing, but they could. And my boots handmade and ornately carved at sagewood. The rich and eccentric look suited me just fine. I whispered back to the man what I required in the next 12 hours in terms of nifty whores, fine labeled drinks in abundance, tobacco, fresh hauled-up water, warm baths, rich foods catered to the suite of rooms, and there were 4 for us 3, and what my 2 men arriving would soon require. He whispered me the price, silly and low, and I handed him enough gold coins for all that twice over with the remark, "And $100 of these coins are my grateful gratuity to you, sir, in particular for your silence and management of our indulgences." He smiled slightly, used to it, nodded, backed away like a courtier to a king, and then smiled more broadly. If ever 3 men have ravaged, torn asunder, and lovingly bruised up 7 dainty, pretty, and yet experienced women, it was our lot in those next 10 hours. Well, an hour, then some rest, then some hours. Most every man thinks it is his duty to somehow punish a whore and be more brutal, thorough, and plundering than the 50 men before him. Like she cares, and our reputation mattered in that way, and would get back, even. Why should it matter except to our insecure skulls, our own skulls? I have not that compulsion since age 15, but my men learned it somewhere else. It was said in those times a man's yearning It was almost a medical necessity to be trotted out now and again and allowed to run free. One might have laid down 50 miles of track with less hammering and solid wood and created 2 new mines with less pile driving than that night. There was some tenderness, and in particular amongst the ladies at our command. They were not novice nor unwilling in those ways with each other. Noble ladies in mansions and castles, and whores, alike find a way with each other. How lovely of their species to leave men out of the best intimacy they know. It is a final irony that escapes most men. I, for one, cherish it. Hardly a thing in our rooms of small size. Guns, whiskey bottle, keys, statues, pens, spoons were included. Did not pass into male or female orifice. With the aid of some sauces or oils from dinner. There was a bellboy roaming the halls, and he knocked at our suite by accident. He was dragged in and at gunpoint made to indulge, and apparently for the first time. No act was out of bounds, nor unconsidered, though most accomplished. My men, instructed wisely by me, avoided the whiskey wiener until all the sexual deeds were done over and over, and only then did we indulge in the caramel beverage to excess, and with foods, including rich French dishes, cream sauces, slabs of meat as wide as the building's timber, and all manner of sugary iced desserts. How we avoided ourselves with violent noises that early morning, with too much in our bellies, eludes me. There were fancy white and blue willow chamber pots in abundance for all that, and people to clean it up, happily and well tipped with good coins. Gold for vomit, gold for crap, gold for piss, and gold for things unclassified that flowed out of one place or another. How joyful is the life of a rich man and his friend.